You mentioned the food situation, John. Both of you are veterans of war. Have you ever fought in a war where you had to feed your enemy, provide them clean drinking water and electricity? Because that I don't think a lot of people know that Israel has been providing the power and the water and then the food, and then told, well, you're not giving them enough food. You're committing genocide. I don't know how you commit genocide against a people that you are feeding and watering.
I think the Israelis have been facilitating, sometimes by direct assistance, they've been facilitating significantly more humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip than is required by the population of the Gaza Strip, significantly more. And I think I'm right in saying that, certainly in my knowledge and my experience, this is the first time in history that any army, any armed force, or any opposing power has facilitated the delivery of aid to the enemy population at the same time as they're fighting that enemy. Yeah, we've got examples from history of, one side wins a conflict and it provides aid in various forms to the power that it has defeated. But never to my knowledge, while this conflict has been going on. But that's what we've been seeing. Exactly.
Normally, you lay siege to a place. You cut off the access to food and water as a way to try and get them to surrender. Here, they're actively delivering more aid than the UN will pick up at times.
Absolutely. And we've seen stockpiles of aid waiting inside Gaza that have been permitted in by the IDF, have been checked, searched, allowed in, and then they're waiting. It's waiting there because the UN have a completely inefficient distribution system. And the UN itself has admitted that the vast majority of the aid that it has brought into Gaza has been hijacked and taken over by Hamas and used for Hamas's purposes. And of course, that's what Hamas is trying to do with aid. Hamas aren't interested in the population being fed. In fact, they'd rather the population weren't fed so they can perpetrate their own lies about starvation. What Hamas want, they want to control the population through distribution of aid, which is often sold free aid given by US taxpayers' dollars, free aid. They want to sell that. They've been selling that at vastly inflated prices to those that can afford it. They've been keeping their own aid. They've been keeping a lot of the aid back for their obese terrorists that have been hiding in their tunnels. And so they've been raising funds and controlling the population by it. And this is one of the main reasons why they have opposed so strongly the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which has been the most effective organization, a US initiative supported by Israel as well, mainly made up of former American soldiers, been distributing aid directly to the Gazans, bypassing Hamas, so Hamas don't get control of it and don't use it to raise funds or control the population. And that's why they oppose it. And another obscenity, I mentioned genocide as obscenity, another obscenity in this propaganda war against Israel is that the United Nations and other NGOs that are supposed to be responsible for food distribution, they themselves are as strong an opposer of the Gaza Humanitarian Fund as Hamas are. So you've got the United Nations, organizations like Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, various aid organizations working hand in hand with Hamas against Israel and against the population of Gaza.
What should listeners make of the claims that Israel has used, and I think it was specific to the aid being distributed by the Gaza Humanitarian Fund, that they have used that as a lure to get people to show up so they can shoot and kill them?
I mean, it's as false as all the other claims. It doesn't stand up against evidence, and it rules out any information from anybody but Hamas. So those claims are Hamas claims, then Hamas casualty numbers, and people won't even listen to what Israel says. Okay, fine. You think that Israel is lying, but they won't use what the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, not Israelis, mostly American, but other country veterans who are on the ground. And no matter how many videos they say, this is not true. This is what happened on this day. This is what happened on that day. This is how Hamas snuck a grenade into the line with people trying to get food or whatever. It's just not true. And no matter how far they reach for an allegation or I got you, to Israel doing something wrong. They won't listen to any like just basic information that conflicts with that Hamas information, because where they're getting the information is unequivocally from Hamas, the Gaza Health Ministry. They'll put different names on it, but most of the international organizations like UN at this point won't even name Hamas when armed militias grab all 90% of the aid or something. So it's another false claim with very little evidence. Has there been chaos in the initial phases of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation? Although if you go to people that are there now, like this week, it's a very finely to run humanitarian operation in the midst of war. And this is where people will say, like, I've never seen such chaos. I'm like, well, have you ever seen humanitarian aid delivery in war, like the Somalian war when we tried to do it in other locations? Actually, what the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation should be applauded, should be awarded for what they're doing to feed despite Hamas and these lies, like thousands of people get shot. Like, it's just not factual.